So it's interesting to see what's kind of going on in the development of the rumors when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2. We don't have too much more information here, but Midori, a very prominent Sega and Atlus leaker, has started to get some other information when it comes to the next Nintendo Switch. Now, this is all rumors, so make sure you take that with a grain of salt until we actually get confirmation, but there's been some things that are floating around saying that the Nintendo Switch 2, its code name is Ounce. Midori actually said this via Twitter. Maybe the code name is Ounce because Nintendo was able to put stronger hardware into a portable device that is still not too heavy to use. So it's similar to the GameCube name. So, okay, I guess that. But then also the important part of information here was this. And she says, in conversations with developers, including Atlus and Sega over the past few years, the next hardware is using the name Switch 2 or New Switch, but I do not think that is the final name. So essentially, even with these developers, what she's saying is that, hey, they're using, New Switch. They're using Switch 2 as what they're calling this because they've been developing on it for the last maybe year or so, right? Nintendo has to have talks with these developers, with Sega, with Atlus, to say, okay, we need to have this type of hardware, or we're going to get this type of hardware. What are the specifications of it? What are you guys looking on? Because they want to make sure that they have Sega and Atlus games on the Nintendo Switch 2 a lot sooner than what we got before. Because if you remember, with the Nintendo Switch, there was a little bit of a buffer period. There was some Sonic stuff, Sega things that was planned, but Atlus was a bit apprehensive. They necessarily did not want to move over yet. The 3DS was still a thing though, and they were making good games on there, so I could understand, but it did take them a little bit of time, and it took a long time to actually get stuff like Persona 5 and other bigger games. But it seems like this will not be the case with the Nintendo Switch 2, because Midori has also stated that all of the Sega reboots are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. She's also stated that the big RPGs that came out this year or are coming out this year, like Persona 3 Reload, that's coming to Nintendo Switch 2, and Metaphor ReFantazio, that's also coming to the Switch 2. So I do think that Midori is probably right in the estimation here. They're probably all using Switch 2 or New Switch as a name. Now, one thing that you also have to remember is that Nintendo has dubbed this system the successor to the Nintendo Switch. So it's going to be like a Nintendo Switch. It seems like it's going to be a new iteration of the Nintendo Switch, the next version of it. So a big step above it as a successor, a next generation platform, but it's not going to be too wildly in terms of a concept. It's not going to be going from, like, let's say, the GameCube to the Wii, where the concept and everything completely changed from what they were doing. It seems like it's going to be more of a NES to Super NES or a N64 to GameCube situation, and not a Wii U to Switch situation where it's a completely different concept and idea with some things, but for the most part, completely wildly new concept and idea. So I do think that that's probably accurate in terms of things, but it's not really too much more in terms of what we probably didn't already know or anything. But what I like to see is the fact that Sega and Atlus are making sure that there's going to be titles, because there's going to be a lot of people that will wait or will say, hey, I want to play Metaphor ReFantazio on a system I can take anywhere that I want without some type of situation where you got to use like a Steam Deck or you got to use some type of PlayStation Portal. Like, I just want to be able to play it on the system, because we saw how many people picked up the Persona games on the Nintendo Switch and really enjoyed those. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Nintendo does there. But we do have some more Midori news when it comes to the code names and what's happening with the Nintendo Switch 2. So it seems like there could be a new Mario Party game that's getting geared up and ready to go for Nintendo's next platform, because Midori on Twitter talked about a game in development at Nintendo with the code name of Banquet. I covered this as well, and the things could have been like Mario Party, right? That's what everyone's been kind of saying here, but there is more information on this. So Midori also follows that up by saying this is a title that appears to be in development by ND Cube and a developer known as Smile Boom. So right there, that definitely tells you that it looks like it's going to be Mario Party, which makes complete sense. It makes sense that Nintendo would make another Mario Party game. Mario Party games are some of the best selling titles on the Nintendo Switch between the Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars. That's sold, I think, going on like 40 million, right? It's going close to that. These are some of the best selling ones. I know it's sold 30 million units plus at this point. So that's a lot for those two games. And there's been people that have said, oh, I want them to add this, and they always kind of go conservative on Mario Party games. They never really spend too much on them in terms of making it with all the different content and all the different things. But I'm hoping that this upcoming Mario Party game, that they actually take the time and put a bunch of boards, because people always complain about boards. I'm not a Mario Party person myself. I just don't like sitting there playing mini games all day. But I do think it'd be pretty cool if they kind of went all in with this one and made like a huge game with like 10, 15, 20 boards or something crazy. They also had a bunch of single player content and way more things than they usually do for a Mario Party game to really excite the fans and create something that's really awesome for people to go out there and pick up. So it does seem like it's going to be a Mario Party game, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how it turns out. But yeah, Mario Party is pretty much a given when it comes to Nintendo and a new system. There hasn't been a system since like what, the N64, since they started it, since Mario Party 1, that's ever not had a Mario Party game. And a lot of Nintendo systems have had multiple Mario Party games, but pretty much every single system since the N64 and up have had a Mario Party game when it comes down to it. So yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less that this is probably going to be a Mario Party game with ND Cube involved. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing here. We're going to be talking about some Pokemon, because Nintendo Switch has passed another pretty big milestone with the Pokemon series. So if you count up all the different Pokemon games over the course of the Nintendo Switch's life, the Switch actually has broken the record for the best selling in the series of Pokemon games. So what this means, shout outs to my man Pierre, and he says the Switch is the most successful platform for the main Pokemon series, with over 96 million units shipped so far, surpassing the GB and GBA total of 75.81 million units, and that's with another Switch entry to launch in 2025 with Pokemon Legends ZA. Pierre continues by saying Pokemon Scarlet and Violet shipped another 560,000 copies in the last 3 months, which is really good legs, by the way. Now over 24.92 million units in total. It's the fastest selling game in the series and the third best selling Pokemon title. The main Pokemon series sold more than 95 million games on Switch. So yeah, that is a massive amount. Pokemon is as popular as ever, which is really difficult to have a series this old at this point still be this dominant, and if not even more dominant than what we've seen before in the past, considering the best selling individual games like Pokemon Red and Blue and all that, those sold like 30 million plus on the Game Boy. So it's pretty crazy overall. I do think that obviously you have to mention here that, like, yeah, the Pokemon games necessarily aren't the best efforts in the franchise history. There's some issues with a lot of the games. I personally love Pokemon Legends Arceus the most on the Nintendo Switch, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet definitely has issues. Pokemon Sword and Shield has some issues, frame rate, performance, these type of things, and Nintendo necessarily did not come out there with Game Freak and the Pokemon Company and fix some of those things that we felt that they should fix as the fans out there. So let's see if anything happens with the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it'd be pretty cool if there was like a free patch that says, okay, you know, we messed up before, but we got you guys here when it comes down to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing what they do with Pokemon Legends ZA. I think that's going to be a phenomenal game. I'm super excited for that game. That's the game when it comes to the Pokemon series, at least with these new games, that I get the most excited about, because I think Pokemon Legends Arceus was such a refreshing and I would say innovative take within the Pokemon series in terms of what they were doing with like the stealth and catching Pokemon without any battles and all the different little things that they added into the combat system, and even with the boss battles fighting against the Pokemon yourself. I think that's super cool. So I would love to see how they're going to evolve that formula, how they're going to have it in Pokemon Legends ZA, just in that town kind of rebuilding. I think that they have a big opportunity here to really kind of set something straight, right? Set something straight. They didn't show any real gameplay footage of Pokemon Legends ZA yet, but I do think that when they do, they're going to make sure that it looks as good as possible and optimized. And I think that's the reason why in my opinion, because of the backlash that they've gotten from the previous games, they're going to try to downsize things a little bit. You don't need to make a bunch of huge open world areas and things like we saw with Pokemon Legends Arceus, in addition to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You can make something that's a little bit more constrained and dense within a city, so it makes things a bit easier for your programmers that necessarily aren't the best at those big, massive open world games. And even leveraging, despite the Nintendo Switch not being the strongest platform out there, even leveraging what that system could do, because we saw other games, Xenoblade Chronicles, for example, also The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom look much better than the Pokemon games. So I'm absolutely interested to see exactly how Pokemon Legends ZA turns out, if that's going to be Nintendo Switch 2 as well, in addition to the standard Nintendo Switch. I do think there's going to be backwards compatibility, but it's going to be very interesting to see how Nintendo and the Pokemon Company play Pokemon heading forward into the future here. Now let's go ahead and move into the last topic, and we're talking about a potential new Nier game that started development. Yosuke Saito working on a new project with Yoko Taro and Kenichi Okabe. So you guys know these dudes. These are the Nier guys. So Square Enix executive officer and Nier series producer Yosuke Saito is working on a new project with Nier series director Yoko Taro and series composer Kenichi Okabe. The latest issue of the weekly Famitsu reveals, in a discussion with former Capcom producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi, who is now leading GP Track 50 under NetEase Games, Saito said, quote, "I've been talking about wanting to do something with Yoko Okabe for some time now. I'll have something a bit more to put together to say in the not too distant future, so please stay tuned. It might be Nier, it might not be Nier." And then they all laugh. That's about all I can say for now. Saito also said that he has another project in the works. Quote, "I'm doing various things with the idea of creating something that does not yet exist." Saito said, "I can't devote my time to that fully, so most of it has been left to the staff, but it's turning into something quite interesting. I'm looking forward to the day we can announce it." So this is absolutely good news. Now, this is two different projects. Yes, the first project that he's talking about, it's absolutely Nier, because they said it so tongue-in-cheek, like it might be Nier, it might not be Nier. And then he says he has another project that he can't devote that time to. So obviously Nier would be the priority here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess that this is a brand new Nier game, and I think that it needs to happen. It's been 7+ years since the last game. The game has sold over, 7 million units, something like that, with the addition of the Nintendo Switch version, tacking on some extra good sales for the franchise. It's become a big title, one of the biggest titles for Square Enix. It's been one of the best games when it comes down to action RPGs out there in the last decade. It makes complete sense that they're going to want to make a brand new Nier game, and I'd be completely down for that. Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2. We don't know exactly where in development it is. It seems like it's already been in development for quite some time, because he says the not too distant future, like an announcement or put something together. So it seems like it's already been in development for at least a year or 2 years, and they are ready to actually say, hey, look, a new Nier game is in development here, and maybe you can get it sometime in whenever they make their announcement, right? Maybe sometime in 2025 or 2026 or whatever the case is, but they're just getting ready for that announcement. And that's definitely good, because it's been a long time since we've gotten a brand new Nier game. Then we did get Nier Replicant, which is awesome, where they take the base game, it's like a remaster of the re-release thingy. Nier Replicant's really weird, but that's also a great game. So there's two Nier games, and Nier Replicant didn't sell as good as Nier Automata, but it still sold very good. So between both of those games, we're looking at a 10 million selling franchise, so that's really good. So I would absolutely love to see them put together something awesome for us, have a reveal this year, bring back some hype, because Nier is one of those games that just has that super sauce added to it. I'm playing Stellar Blade right now, and while Nier and Stellar Blade aren't the same type of game completely, it's really cool to kind of see the synergy that some of the things that Stellar Blade did that they kind of took from Nier in terms of aesthetics and some different combat things. But overall, man, I love it. I love the fact that we are going to be getting some games like this, and I think it's pretty cool when they kind of do some of these little teases here and you know what it is. So we're getting ready, man. New Nier game incoming. get ready for that. I think it's going to be a ton of fun when they announce it. We'll see what happens with Square Enix, though. Square Enix is going through a lot right now and kind of reshaping things, but it fits into what Square Enix said about focusing on the highest quality of AAA games. This is a AAA game that has the highest quality when it comes to Nier. We know that it's in that bunch with Kingdom Hearts and with Final Fantasy and with Dragon Quest. So I think that this is going to be pretty good, especially with the new outlook that Square Enix has. And of course, these developers are awesome too. They've done great work in the past. So what do you guys think about everything that we talked about here when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and RPG news? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out our other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.